Okay,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I'd like to add this. What you should always remember is that anything you post online, it's there, it's out there, it's public, and it becomes. And the internet is not just a publishing tool; it's an archive. It has a memory. So anything you post out there will be seen by HR, by human resource professionals who will be looking at whether you're worthy of getting hired by their company. So we actually do that. I mean, like when we want to hire somebody, we look up their profiles online and we check how, I mean, like what they post, because it's a reflection of their personality and probably like how they will behave in the work area.
Yeah, people can be really mean and nasty online. Usually, it's very rabid Catholics. But, no, only because, and I think it's interesting, the way Maria says it. It's that Filipinos seem to let loose online. They don't put a name to themselves. They don't put a face to themselves. I've had my worst experiences with Gordon fans, Gibo fans, and the church. I don't mind engaging when there's something to engage. But there's nothing to engage when they call you either a capitalist whore or... Shouldn't have said that, huh?
Edit.
There are things you cannot argue with when they attack your mother, they attack your God, whatever your God is, or they attack your political belief. If they want to engage it, you engage. If they don't engage, you say you're not engaging. But don't say the same thing because you're putting yourself in the same place. I personally am very, very glad I started writing at a time when there was no Twitter yet. So I did all my mistakes, most of my mistakes, published, in print, without a public attacking me the same night. Now, at least I know how to cover my ass during... Guess I haven't learned how to cover my ass in public.
Okay, just a correction. See, this is Move. I just got a correction. Chris Lau is a UP Law student. Thank you, guys. Next question from the floor. Comments, insights. There's a prize. You'll get a handshake. Feel free to take pictures and post. Stand up, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Emmanuel Taguba from CAC. Would you consider WikiLeaks journalism? If so, how and why? Thank you.
Okay.
WikiLeaks to me is a source. Again, like as a journalist, I wrote a whole book that was based on classified documents. But the difference is that normally it takes me a month per document to actually analyze the document, so I make sure I don't place anyone in harm. I don't harm anyone who's involved. For example, one document I had came from an intelligence agency, and it turns out that the picture of the guy that was there could only have been taken by one man, and if I had published it that way, that man could have gotten killed. The problem with WikiLeaks is that when non-journalists leak documents, they may not completely understand the ramifications of what they've done. You automatically had 251,000 US diplomatic cables thrown, unredacted, meaning the names of people who gave that information to the US government was left there, and many people had to flee their homes. Some people did die, and this is because of a lack of appreciation of what that is. We had a long discussion about this, and Glenda actually pointed out that WikiLeaks is a first stop for journalists. You as citizens now can go through it and read it and go through the details, but you need to have context. For me, my God, going through that whole treasure trove of documents, I need to know about all of the hundreds of thousands of conflicts around the world to really understand context. This is the problem with the internet today. You need context to understand meaning. So we need to understand context. Otherwise, it is meaningless. It is chaos. That's what you hopefully will work with us to try to do. Context is everything.
Actually, thank you for reminding us. Move.ph organized a forum on WikiLeaks, actually. And you could watch the entire forum on Move.ph and Facebook. Just search for our video clip there. Any other questions? After this forum, while some of the students are preparing their questions, we'll do a very short workshop to test who actually can be a multimedia reporter. And so, let me take this opportunity to ask for about 50 volunteers to stand up and move to that area and look for Miss Chai Hofilenia. We only need 50 gung-ho, very hyper people, overachievers maybe, who want to make an, yes, who want to try out their own gadgets or even ours as well, and present their own work later, and you will be guided by our facilitator. So all the 50 volunteers, go one by one. I'm giving you 2 minutes to do that. You're all meeting at room JL204. That's at the second room to the left downstairs. Okay? Come on, guys. Make your student organization, your department proud, and go look for Chai Hofilenia at room JL204, second room downstairs.
So everyone who has a story to tell, it's your way to tell your story in whatever way you want. And we'll see who can tell stories. Maybe we can work with you.
Yes, and in the meantime, we'll still engage our speakers.
How many have we got?
Yeah. Students, NGO workers, teachers, why not?
Miss Chai, do we have 50? Looks like it's more than 50.
Okay. Slowly, all right, okay. So we settle down now. Quiet, please. You can just quietly leave the room, all the 50, and go to Chai. Let's have the next question, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. It's not a question, actually, but it's more of a comment. I am Conrad Aseo from St. Louis University. My congratulations to Move.ph for spearheading, or yes, and UP, of course, for this event. But it could have been much better if you have maybe inform some universities such as us, kasi I think we are the most least number of attendees SLU. Ma'am, pag may mga ganito pong occasions, you can invite us through our student affairs office so that we can, of course, be engaged and, of course, with your philosophy to move people. And one more thing, ma'am, you presented the social media network in a positive light as opposed to John Baudrillard's ecstasy of communication, and that's a very, very, very positive way of looking at things. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you. We'll consider that an invitation.
Yes, this is just the first of a series.
And you're going to have to feed us.
Thank you. Okay. Next question, please. I always call her my problem child, so.
I still am.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Clark Rivera, a fourth-year communication student here in the University of the Philippines. On a more personal note, considering that what you're doing right now, very commendable. Engaging with the public through social on a vast scale, on a massive scale. Have you ever considered quitting this? Let me restate. Have you ever reached a point in your life where you've thought of just doing a regular day job and instead of putting your lives in danger, or just simply engaging with these people, with these kind of stories? Have you ever reached points in your lives that made you reconsider your life tracks?
It's a daily nightmare that we'll have to take a 9-to-5 job. I cannot imagine doing any other job other than, I can't call it journalism yet, because I do a lot of things. Storytelling. whatever plane. I've considered not doing television or video. I'm old school. I like print better. But I can't imagine not telling stories.
A few years ago, somebody asked me that question after we got arrested following somebody up north filed a libel case against us. It's still pending, and it's still pending. It was filed by Chavit Singson against 5 of us. And I happened to have been, at the time when the arrest warrant was released, I happened to have been the stupid one who was there at the office. The others were outside. I had to coordinate something, so I was there at the office. And then this policeman arrived at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was so clueless. I asked him, like, do I really have to go with you? Something like that. Anyway, that's one of the questions that I was asked. Like, will you stop writing, given the experience you had right now? And my answer then was that if there's a compelling story that needs to be written, you just can't help but want to write about it. And in fact, there are a lot of compelling stories out there that I keep telling Glenda I want to write about. It's just that it's so impossible given, given the stuff that you have to do, like given the stuff that we want to write about. So what she's trying to do is like pace me and say, okay, can you still do it at this time? But it's really more of like, it's part of our DNA. We're adrenaline junkies. And it's that. You just have, it's part of what moves us, you might say.
I spent 20 years, almost 20 years with CNN, and I was a war zone correspondent. I feel like I was a war zone correspondent. I have renounced it. There is something addictive to journalism, and part of the reason we want to share it with you, and it's this. After I realized that being a war correspondent doesn't actually let you have a stable life, I moved to ABS-CBN, which doesn't allow you to have a stable life either. So when you're in your 20s, I'll cite a study for you because our lives parallel yours. When you're in your 20s, you're trying to define what's important to you, and here's the basic question we all want to define. What will make me happy? What will make you happy? And the studies actually show that when you're young, you actually will say, I want to have a nice car, or I want to have a house, I want to have a boyfriend. Things that may be easier to get, right? But when you get it, you actually find out that it doesn't make you happy. Here's the funny part. By the time you reach 30, what will make you happy is not something material. It's actually finding meaning. So the studies have shown it. I am part of the study. It's important to me, and I think to the people in Move, to find meaning. Why do we do what we do? It's a question I love to ask people I meet. And oftentimes, I always get great answers, and I always learn something from it. So it's that. For us, we're Filipinos, and my God, there's a lot to do. And I've gotten to the point where I don't want to attack. I don't want to complain. I want to do. And I think we can do.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, sure.
I think a lot of us do it. Journalism. I think a lot of us choose journalism because we can't imagine doing anything else. But more importantly, I think it's because a lot of us hear a lot of voices in our heads. And it's not a lack of sanity, although I think Glenda questions mine. It's more of, I think, there are so many things you don't understand. There are so many narratives that don't make sense. There's plot, and there's conclusion, and why is this person dead? You shouldn't be. You ask the questions because you want to know. And maybe if you find out, it gets fixed. And if it doesn't, then you try to do something. Without telling the story, you can't make sense of anything. And the voices get too loud sometimes.
Thank you.